Horimiya is a rom-com about two schoolmates who discover how different the other is outside of school. If you know my channel, you know that I love a good rom-com, but I despise a mediocre one. After 6 episodes, my ultimate question is, will Horimiya be one of the great rom-coms? Will it stand alongside Toradora and Karashi Kanojo, or will it fade into obscurity with 10cm data or convenience store boyfriend? A point in the show's favour is its initial premise. The idea of exploring the life of a high school student who puts on a metaphorical mask at school is a good idea for a rom-com, as it grants several opportunities for both drama and comedy, and this show fully utilises that premise. For one episode. My first big issue with the show is that it doesn't really explore how different these two are outside of school after the first episode. You do learn more about the characters, particularly their pasts, social failures, and less than ideal attitudes, but the idea of discovering what different characters are really like behind their high school personas is kind of abandoned for the next 5 episodes. The show instead runs some generic scenarios with its characters. It does the whole "my best friend and I both like the same girl" thing, and Miyamura is worried that hanging out with Hori will ruin her popular girl reputation. However, the show never dwells on these generic situations for long. Both scenarios I mentioned are brought up and resolved in the first episode. Several other generic situations that would usually occupy an episode of a mediocre show or a full arc of a bad one are brought up and resolved in a few scenes. I wish that the writers could have conveyed the necessary information without resorting to these old cliched stories, but at least they're over with quickly. That's not a point in the show's favour though. You don't get points for serving me boiled chicken just because it didn't take long to eat. It does get points for Miyamura's friendship with Hori eventually leading to other social connections. The idea that one friend leads to more may be a common trope of anime, but that's because it's a common trope of life. Make one friend and you'll likely have an easier time making more. That's how it works, and I will always commend any media that reflects that fact of life. When it comes to dealing with the characters' pasts, Miyamura falls relatively flat. So far, his entire backstory is a generic tale of being ostracized by most of his peers for no discernible reason. On the other hand, Hori has a more exciting story. She hasn't always been a pleasant presence for the people in her life, and she's working at being a better person by the time we meet her. So far, the show has implied that she changed her ways after a single conversation, but I'm hoping that future episodes will delve into the journey she undertook to become the person she is now. Lastly, I'm enjoying the bond between our main characters. It starts as a mutual friendship when they both learn the hidden side of each other, and as they spend more time together, it naturally evolves into something they can learn from and take comfort in. Seeing them become mundane aspects of each other's lives gives me Toradora vibes, which is always a good thing. I hope that you'll forgive me if the answer to this video's ultimate question is anticlimactic. Horimiya certainly has many of the pieces it needs to become one of the great rom-coms, but it also has a lot of generic fluff that ultimately subtracts from the experience. From what I've seen so far, it isn't going to end up being a lousy show unless something goes catastrophically wrong. No, at this rate it's gearing up to be a fine show. However, even decent rom-coms can fade into obscurity due to the genre's saturation. Even hardcore rom-com fans only remember the very best shows. And unless Horimiya improves between now and the end of its first season, I don't think it will reach those heights. But for the time being, I am undoubtedly enjoying my time with it, and I will likely watch it to the end. That's it for this speculative video. I'd like to thank my patrons, Orion Tran, Quincy Chamberlain, German5, Lars Espen, Shark, Data52, Nerxu, Pixcalibur, Alberto Cruz, Tyler Bennett, Tenka, and Jeremy Pashik. If you too would like to support my channel further, consider becoming a patron yourself. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you next time.